Lesson 6-16, Rational Numbers. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify rational numbers on a number line as well as show rational numbers on a number line. Make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil handy so you can jot down notes and work right along with me. Here's a definition to write down. Rational number. That's a number that can be written in the form of a fraction a over b, where a and b are integers and b does not equal 0. So think all whole numbers are integers and all integers are rational numbers. Okay, so think of it this way also. You have whole numbers, all whole numbers are in this box, then on the outside of that box, we have integers, which include whole numbers, and then we have rational numbers, which include both integers and whole numbers. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So you can have a bunch of different numbers. Here we have negative 3 1/4, negative 2, negative 3/4, positive 1/8, positive 1, and positive 1.5. We can use a number line to represent all of the positive and negative numbers. And that would look like this. Here we have negative 3 1/4, negative 2, negative 3/4, positive 1/8, positive 1, positive 1.5, and also positive 2. So that's what they look like when they're on a number line. So the numbers 3 1/2 or 3 1/4, negative 2, negative 3/4, positive 1/8, positive 1, positive 1.5, as well as positive 2, these are all rational numbers. 0 is also a rational number. It's right here on our number line. So a rational number, remember, is a number that can be written in the form of a fraction. So these are already fractions. We can write negative 2 as a fraction. We could make that negative 2 over 1. We can also do this as a fraction. Positive 1 over 1 equals 1, and that's written as a fraction. Okay, you can also write any rational number as a decimal. So right here we're going to compare. Here we had 3 1/4, and it's right here in decimal point, or decimal form. Negative 3 and 25/100. Negative 2 stays the same. Here we have negative 3/4. That as a decimal is negative 0.75 or 75/100. Here we have 1/8. That as a fraction is 125/100. Then we have positive 1, that stays the same. Positive 1.5 is 1.5 on the number line, and then the positive 2 stays the same. So if you notice that each of these numbers has a correlation. It's got the fraction and it has a decimal. So every rational number has an opposite. So the opposite of 2.5, negative 2.5, the opposite is 2.5. Then we have negative 3.5. The opposite of that would be 3.5. I'll put a little positive there. Okay, the opposite of negative 3/4 is positive 3/4. And the opposite of 2/10 is positive 2/10. Okay, so make sure that you go over any parts of your notes that you need to before beginning on today's lesson.